You have saved for months for your trip to the United States. Your bags are packed, your hotel is booked, your family is excited. You arrive at the airport, hand over your passport, and then you are pulled aside. Not because you did anything wrong, not because you have a criminal record, but because a new automated screening system flagged something in your background, your social media, your travel history, or your financial records that triggered a secondary review. Your flight leaves without you. Your trip is over before it started. And the worst part is nobody told you the rules had changed. This is not a hypothetical situation. This is the new reality at American borders and airports in 2026. And if you are planning to travel to the United States, you need to watch every single second of this video. Welcome to U.S. Immigration Intel, the channel that gives you the real facts, the latest updates, and the practical guidance you need to navigate United States immigration and travel in 2026 and beyond. Today we are covering one of the most significant and fastest moving stories in American travel right now. The United States government has rolled out sweeping new travel screening procedures that are already affecting visitors, tourists, visa holders, and even some legal residents at ports of entry across the country. We are going to break down exactly what these new screening measures involve, who is being targeted first, what information the government is now collecting and reviewing, and what you absolutely must know before you attempt to enter the United States under these new rules. Stay with us because this information could save you from a nightmare at the border. To understand why these changes are happening right now, we need to understand the broader political and security environment that the United States is operating in. The administration of President Donald Trump, which returned to the White House in January 2025, came in with a very clear mandate to tighten border security, restrict immigration, and increase scrutiny of everyone entering the United States, not just undocumented migrants, but visa holders, tourists, and travelers from countries that were previously considered low risk. The executive orders and policy directives that have come out of the Trump administration in 2025 and into 2026 have fundamentally changed how border and customs officials are empowered to screen, question, detain, and deny entry to people arriving in the United States. These are not incremental policy tweaks. This is a wholesale transformation of how America processes the people who arrive at its borders. The new travel screening rollout combines several technologies and data systems that have never before been used together at this scale. The first component is enhanced social media screening. The United States Customs and Border Protection Agency, known as CBP, along with the Department of Homeland Security, has significantly expanded its capacity to review the social media accounts of travelers before and during their arrival at American ports of entry. This includes platforms like Facebook, Instagram, X, which was formerly Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and others. Officers are now looking for posts, comments, likes, follows, and associations that could indicate connections to extremist groups, anti-American sentiment, involvement in protests or political movements that the current administration views as problematic, or any content that raises questions about the traveler's intentions or character. You do not have to have done anything illegal. A post from years ago, a comment taken out of context, or simply following certain accounts can be enough to trigger additional scrutiny. The second component is expanded financial screening. CBP and associated agencies now have greater access to financial data on international travelers. This includes checking for patterns of financial activity that might suggest a traveler intends to work illegally in the United States, overstay their visa, or engage in other unauthorized activities. Travelers arriving with large amounts of undeclared cash, those with unusual financial histories, or those whose stated purpose of travel does not match their visible financial circumstances are being flagged at much higher rates than before. The third component is biometric expansion. The United States has been collecting fingerprints and photographs at ports of entry for years, but in 2026, the biometric collection process has been expanded significantly. Facial recognition technology is now being used more extensively at major international airports and land border crossings. This technology cross-references your face against databases that include not just immigration records, but law enforcement databases, watch lists, and in some cases, databases shared with foreign governments. If your image matches anything in those systems, you will be stopped regardless of what your documents say. The fourth component is the expansion of device searches. This is one of the most alarming developments for many travelers, and it is one that has been upheld by courts as lawful at the border. American border officers have always had broad authority to search physical belongings at ports of entry without needing a warrant. In 2026, this authority is being applied more aggressively and more systematically to electronic devices, including smartphones, laptops, and tablets. Officers can demand that you unlock your phone, hand over your passwords, and allow them to review your messages, emails, photos, contacts, and apps. Refusal to comply can result in your device being confiscated, your entry being denied, or you being detained for further questioning. This applies to everyone, citizens of visa waiver countries, visa holders, and people with valid legal status in the United States. The fifth component involves what officials are calling enhanced vetting of travelers from specific countries and regions. The Trump administration has indicated clearly that nationals from certain countries face heightened scrutiny, regardless of their individual circumstances. Countries with what the administration describes as inadequate information sharing agreements with the United States, countries that have been designated as state sponsors of terrorism, and countries and regions that the administration views as security risks are all seeing their nationals subjected to much longer and more intensive screening processes at American borders. This has created significant backlogs at some ports of entry and has led to travelers being held for hours, or in some cases days, while their cases are reviewed. Now, let us talk specifically about who is being stopped first, and most frequently under this new screening rollout, because the data that is emerging from border advocacy groups, immigration attorneys, and traveler reports paints a very clear picture. The first group being stopped at dramatically higher rates is nationals of Muslim-majority countries. This is consistent with the broader immigration policy direction of the Trump administration and mirrors approaches taken during the first Trump administration with the travel ban. Travelers holding passports from countries in the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of South and Southeast Asia are reporting much longer wait times, more frequent secondary inspections, more invasive questioning, and higher rates of visa denial and entry refusal than at any point in recent years. The second group facing heightened scrutiny is people who have any prior immigration violation on their record, no matter how minor or how long ago it occurred. An overstay from 10 years ago, a visa irregularity that was never formally resolved, or even a past application denial that was later overturned can all surface during the new automated screening process and result in a traveler being pulled for review. The third group is people with certain political or activist backgrounds. This is a deeply concerning development that has been documented by civil liberties organizations, including the American Civil Liberties Union. Travelers who have participated in protests, who have been publicly critical of the United States government or the Trump administration specifically, or who are associated with organizations that the current administration views unfavorably, are being flagged through social media screening and subjected to intensive questioning at the border. The fourth group is dual nationals, particularly those who hold citizenship in both a Western country and a country that is on the heightened scrutiny list. Even if you travel on a passport from a country with a strong visa waiver agreement with the United States, your second nationality can and is being used as grounds for additional screening. The fifth group is international students and researchers, particularly those in fields like technology, engineering, artificial intelligence, and biotechnology. The Trump administration has expressed concern about intellectual property theft and has directed heightened scrutiny toward academic and research travelers, particularly those with connections to Chinese, Iranian, or Russian institutions. So what do you need to do if you are planning to travel to the United States in 2026? The guidance from immigration attorneys and travel experts is consistent and clear. Before you travel, conduct a thorough review of your own social media accounts. Look for anything that could be misinterpreted, that expresses strong political views, that shows associations with groups or movements that could raise flags, or that contradicts the stated purpose of your visit. You do not have to delete your entire online history, but you should be aware of what an officer reviewing your account might see and make informed decisions about what remains visible. Make sure all your travel documents are completely in order and that there are no unresolved immigration issues in your history. If you have any prior immigration complications, speak to a qualified immigration attorney before your trip. Do not assume that old issues have been forgotten or that they will not surface during the new automated screening. Carry documentation that clearly supports the purpose of your visit. If you are coming as a tourist, have your hotel bookings, return tickets, and evidence of sufficient funds ready. If you are coming for business, have invitation letters, meeting schedules, and company documentation prepared. If you are a student, carry your enrollment documents, visa approval notice, and contact information for your institution's International Student Office. Be prepared for the possibility of a device search. Back up your phone and laptop before you travel. Consider what is on your devices and whether there is anything that could be misunderstood or misrepresented. Know your rights, and if you are unsure whether to comply with a specific request, calmly ask whether you are free to leave and whether you can speak to a supervisor. If you are denied entry or detained for an extended period, request to speak with a consular officer from your home country if you are not a U.S. citizen. Contact an immigration attorney as quickly as possible. Do not sign any documents without understanding exactly what they mean, and do not agree to a voluntary departure without getting legal advice first. The United States remains one of the most visited and most sought-after destinations in the world. Millions of legitimate travelers arrive safely and without incident every single day. But the rules have changed in 2026 in ways that are significant, and being unprepared is a risk that nobody should take when the consequences can be a missed trip, a visa ban, or something far more serious. Knowledge is your best protection, and that is exactly why U.S. immigration intel exists. If this video gave you information that you needed to hear, please give it a thumbs up right now and share it with anyone you know who is planning to travel to the United States. The people who most need this information are often the ones who find out too late. Subscribe to U.S. Immigration Intel if you are not already part of our community, because we are here every single week tracking the changes to American immigration and travel policy and translating them into plain language that you can actually use. Drop a comment below and tell us where you are traveling from, whether you have had any experiences with the new screening procedures, or whether you have questions about your specific situation. We read every comment, and we are here to help you navigate this with confidence. Until next time, stay informed, prepare carefully, and trust us Immigration Intel to keep you one step ahead of whatever comes next.